Abou Ben Adhem by James Leigh Hunt. Read for LibriVox.org by Ron Altman. Abou Ben Adhem, may his tribe increase, awoke one night from a deep dream of peace, and saw within the moonlight in his room, making it rich and like a lily in bloom, an angel writing in a book of gold. Exceeding peace had made Ben Adhem bold, and to the presence in the room he said, "What writest thou?" The vision raised its head, and with a look made of all sweet accord answered, "The names of those who love the Lord." "And is mine one?" said Abou. "Nay, not so," replied the angel. Abou spoke more low, but cheerily still, and said, "I pray thee then, write me as one who loves his fellow men." The angel wrote and vanished. The next night it came again with a great wakening light, and showed the names whom love of God had blessed. And lo, Ben Adhem's name led all the rest. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Advice to a Lover by Unknown. Read for LibriVox.org by Sherr. The sea hath many thousand sands, the sun hath motes as many. The sky is full of stars and love, as full of woes as any. Believe me that do know the elf, and make no trial by thyself. It is in truth a pretty toy for babes to play withal. But oh, the honeys of our youth are oft our age's gall. Self-proof in time will make thee know he was a prophet told thee so. A prophet that Cassandra-like tells truth without belief. For headstrong youth will run his race, although his goal be grief. Love's martyr, when his heat is past, proves care's confessor at the last. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Alice by Herbert Bashford. Read for LibriVox.org by Sherr. Of deepest blue of summer skies is wrought the heaven of her eyes. Of that fine gold the autumn's wear is wrought the glory of her hair. Of rose leaves fashioned in the south is shaped the marvel of her mouth. And from the honeyed lips of bliss is drawn the sweetness of her kiss. Mid twilight thrushes that rejoice is found the cadence of her voice. Of winds that wave the western fir is made the velvet touch of her. Of all earth's songs God took the half to make the ripple of her laugh. I hear you ask, pray, who is she, this maid that is so dear to me? A reigning queen in fashion's whirl? Nay, nay, she is my baby girl. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Baseball's Sad Lexicon by Franklin P. Adams. Read for LibriVox.org by David K. Ewen. These are the saddest of possible words. Tinker to Evers to Chance. Trio of bear cubs fleeter than birds. Tinker to Evers to Chance. Ruthlessly pricking our gonfalon bubble, making a giant hit into a double. Words that are weighty with nothing but trouble. Tinker to Evers to Chance. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Berg, A Dream by Herman Melville. Read for LibriVox.org by Casey Garreau. I saw a ship of martial build, her standard set, her brave apparel on, directed as by madness mere against a stolid iceberg steer, nor budget, though the infatuate ship went down. The impact made huge ice cubes fall sullen in tons that crashed the deck. But that one avalanche was all, no other movement save the foundering wreck. Along the spurs of ridges pale, not any slenderest shaft and frail, a prism over glass-green gorges lone, toppled, or lace of traceries fine, nor pendant drops in grot or mine were jarred when the stunned ship went down, nor soul the gulls in cloud that wheeled circling one snow-flaked peak afar, but nearer foul the floes that skimmed and crystal beaches felt no jar. No thrill transmitted stirred the lock of jack-straw and needle ice at base. Towers undermined by waves, the block, a tilt impending, kept their place. Seals, dozing sleek on sliddery ledges, slipped never, when by loftier edges through very inertia overthrown, the impetuous ship in bafflement went down. Hard Berg, methought, so cold, so vast, with mortal damps self-overcast, exhaling still by dankish breath, adrift dissolving, bound for death. Though lumpish thou, a lumbering one, a lumbering Lombard loitering slow, impingers rue thee and go down, sounding thy precipice below, nor stir the slimy slug that sprawls along thy dead indifference of walls. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Black Sheep by William Ogilvy, read for LibriVox.org by Newgatenovelist. They shepherd their black sheep down to the ships, societies banned and cursed, and the boys look back as the old land dips, some with a reckless laugh on their lips, and some with a prayer reversed. And it's goodbye England, and goodbye love, and maybe 'tis just as well, when a man falls short of his heaven above, that he drop to the uttermost hell. And the anchor lifts, and the sails are set. Now God to your help, black sheep, for the gay world laughs, they will soon forget, but fired in the embers of old regret, the brand of the world bites deep. They turn their black sheep over the side, to land on a stranger's shores, to drift with the city's human tide, or wander away where the rovers ride, and the flagless legion wars. And hope for some is a broken staff, and for others a golden stare, who live for the echo of love's low laugh, or somebody's face in a photograph, or a coil of somebody's hair. And some that have carried a parting gift may kiss it and fling it away, far over the clouds that no winds lift, to follow where our dead hopes drift, and rest where dead hopes may. They bury the black sheep out in the bush, and bury them none too deep, on the cattle camps and the last gold rush, and the grasses grow over them green and lush, and the bush winds sing them to sleep. And it's goodbye struggle, and goodbye strife, and maybe 'tis just as well, when a man goes down in the battle of life, that he shorten his road to hell. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Chaplain to the Forces by Winifred M. Letts, read for LibriVox.org by Larry Wilson. Ambassador of Christ, you go up the very gates of hell, through fog of powder, storm of shell, to speak your Master's message. Lo, the Prince of Peace is with you still. His peace be with you, his good will. It is not small, your priesthood's price, to be a man and yet stand by, to hold your life while others die, to bless, not share the sacrifice, to watch the strife and take no part, you with the fire at your heart. But yours, for our great Captain Christ, to know the sweat of agony, the darkness of Gethsemane. In anguish for these souls unpriced, vicegerent of God's pity you. A sword must pierce your own soul through. In the pale gleam of new-born day, apart in some tree-shadowed place, your altar but a packing-case, rude as the shed where Mary lay, your sanctuary the rain-drenched sod, you bring the kneeling soldier, God. As sentinel you guard the gate 'twixt life and death, and unto death speed the brave soul whose failing breath shudders not at the grip of fate, but answers gallant to the end. Christ is the Word, and I his friend. Then God go with you, priest of God, for all is well and shall be well. What though you tread the roads of hell, your Captain these same ways has trod. Above the anguish and the loss, still floats the ensign of his cross. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
City of Ships by Walt Whitman. Read for LibriVox.org by Bruce Kachuk. City of ships, oh the black ships, oh the fierce ships, oh the beautiful sharp-bowed steamships and sail ships. City of the world, for all races are here, all the lands of the earth make contributions here. City of the sea, city of hurried and glittering tides, city whose gleeful tides continually rush or recede, whirling in and out with eddies and foam. City of wharves and stores, city of tall facades of marble and iron, proud and passionate city, mettlesome, mad, extravagant city. Spring up, O city, not for peace alone, but be indeed yourself warlike. Fear not, submit to no models but your own, O city. Behold me, incarnate me, as I have incarnated you. I have rejected nothing you offered me. Whom you adopted, I have adopted. Good or bad, I never question you. I love all. I do not condemn anything. I chant and celebrate all that is yours. Yet peace no more. In peace I chanted peace, but now the drum of war is mine. War, red war, is my song through your streets, O city. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
City Trees by Edna St. Vincent Millay. Read for LibriVox.org by Kaydence Anderson. The trees along the city street, safe for the traffic and the trains, would make a sound as thin and sweet as trees in country lanes. And people standing in their shade, out of a shower undoubtedly, would hear such music as is made upon a country tree. O little leaves that are so dumb against the shrieking city air! I watch you when the wind has come, I know what sound is there. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Constancy by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Read for LibriVox.org by Cavaet. I will be true. Mad stars forsake their courses, and led by reckless meteors turn away from paths appointed by eternal forces. But my fixed heart shall never go astray. like those calm worlds whose sun-directed motion is disturbed by strife of wind or sea, so shall my swerveless and serene devotion sweep on forever, loyal unto thee. I will be true. The fickle tide, divided between two wooing shores in wild unrest, may to and fro shift always undecided. Not so the tide of passion in my breast. With the grand surge of some resistless river that hurries on past mountain, vale, and sea, unto the main its waters to deliver, so my full heart keeps all its wealth for thee. I will be true. Light barks may be belated or turned aside by every breeze at play, while sturdy ships, well madded and richly freighted, with fair sails flying, anchor safe in bay. Like some firm rock that, steadfast and unshaken, stands all unmoved when ebbing billows flee, so would my heart stand, faithful if forsaken. I will be true, though thou art false to me. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Dermot, an Irish Ballad by W. Smythe. Read for LibriVox.org by Czandra. They bid me slight my Dermot dear, for he's of low degree, while I, my lady's maid, am here, and of the quality. But if my mother would not grieve, and if the truth were known, well pleased would I this castle leave, and live for him alone. My lady, who is very kind, to me will sometimes call, and talk of love with scoffing mind, and say 'tis folly all. Ah, words like these are finely said, and may my lady please, for she her own true love has wed, and has her heart at ease. But I remember well, I know, how mourned this lady gay, when first my lord was forced to go to battle far away. Poor lady, then I saw them part, her tears I saw them fall. Oh, then the true love in her heart, oh, was it folly all? I sit, my love, to think on thee, look o'er the Shannon wide, and fancy I thy cabin see, the lofty elms beside. The Shannon's waves run very high, the little boat, I fear, no more at night the passage try, for winter now is near. There's none like thee, the king of all, at funeral and at fair. My lord's fine man that's in the hall can ne'er with thee compare. Thy heart is true, thy heart is warm, and so is mine to thee, and would my lord but give the farm, how happy should we be. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Fireflowers by Emily Pauline Johnson. Read for LibriVox.org by Winston Tharp. And only where the forest fires have sped, scorching relentlessly the cool northlands, a sweet wild flower lifts its purple head, and like some gentle spirit sorrow-fed, it hides the scars with almost human hands. And only to the heart that knows of grief, of desolating fire, of human pain, there comes some purifying sweet belief, some fellow feeling beautiful if brief, and life revives and blossoms once again. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Fire in the Dusk by Ivor Gurney. Read for LibriVox.org by Larry Wilson. When your white hands have lost their fairy power, like dimpling water flash and charm no more, quick pride of grace has still closed your bright eyes. I still must think, under those northern skies, some influence shall remain of all that sweet, some flower of courage braving Easter sleet, color to stir tears in tenderest skies, music of light. Your autumn beeches shall set passion blazing in a heart, until color you gave be fashioned in formal line on line. Another's beauty prove divine, and all your wandering grace shall not be lost to earth, being too precious, too great of cost. Last wonder to awake the divine spark, a lovely presence lighting summer's dark. Though dust your frame of flesh, such dust as makes blue radiance of March in hidden breaks. Pass from your body then, be what you will, whose light foot walk outdance the daffodil, since time can but confirm you, and fulfill that hidden crescent power in you. Old time, spoiler of pride, and towers, and breath, and rhyme, yet on the spirit impotent of power and will. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Flaxman by Margaret Fuller. Read for LibriVox.org by Casey Garreau. We deemed the secret lost, the spirit gone, which spake in Greek simplicity of thought, and in the forms of gods and heroes wrought eternal beauty from the sculptured stone, a higher charm than modern culture won with all the wealth of metaphysic lore, gifted to analyze, dissect, explore. A many-colored light flows from one sun. Art 'neath its beams a motley thread has spun. The prism modifies the perfect day, but thou hast known such mediums to shun, and cast once more on life a pure white ray. Absorbed in the creation of thy mind, forgetting daily self, my truest self I find. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
From Far Dakota's Cañons by Walt Whitman. Read for LibriVox.org by Bruce Kachuk. June 25th, 1876. From far Dakota's cañons, lands of the wild ravine, the dusky Sioux, the lonesome stretch, the silence. Haply today a mournful wail, haply a trumpet note for heroes. The battle bulletin, the Indian ambuscade, the craft, the fatal environment, the cavalry companies fighting to the last in sternest heroism, in the midst of their little circle, with their slaughtered horses for breastworks. The fall of Custer and all his officers and men. Continues yet the old legend of our race, the loftiest of life upheld by death, the ancient banner perfectly maintained. O lesson opportune, oh how I welcome thee, as sitting in dark days, lone, sulky, through the time's thick murk, looking in vain for light, for hope, from unsuspected parts of fierce and momentary proof. The sun there at the center, though concealed, electric life forever at the center, breaks forth a lightning flash. Thou of the tawny flowing hair in battle, I erewhile saw, with erect head, pressing ever in front, bearing a bright sword in thy hand, now ending well in death the splendid fever of thy deeds. I bring no dirge for it or thee, I bring a glad triumphal sonnet, desperate and glorious, in defeat most desperate, most glorious. After thy many battles in which never yielding up a gun or a color, leaving behind thee a memory sweet to soldiers, thou yieldest up thyself. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Hold On Yet a While, Braveheart by Swami Vivekananda. read for LibriVox.org. If the sun by the cloud is hidden a bit, if the welkin shows but gloom, still hold on yet a while, brave heart, the victory is sure to come. No winter was but summer came behind, each hollow crests the wave. They push each other in light and shade, do steady then and brave. The duties of life are sore indeed, and its pleasures fleeting vain. The goal so shadowy seems and dim, yet plod on through the dark, brave heart, with all thy might and main. Not a work will be lost, no struggle vain. Though hopes be blighted, powers gone. Of thy loins shall come the heirs to all. Then hold on yet a while, brave soul. No good is e'er undone. Though the good and the wise in life are few, yet theirs are the reins to lead. The masses know but late the worth, heed none and gently guide. With thee are those who see afar, with thee is the Lord of might. All blessings pour on thee, great soul, to thee may all come right. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
If by Rudyard Kipling. Read for LibriVox.org by Lynda K. Arndt, March 2022. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too, if you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about don't deal in lies, or being hated don't give way to hating, and yet don't look too good nor talk too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same, if you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you gave your life to broken and stoop and build them up with worn-out tools, if you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it on one turn of pitch and toss, and lose and start again at your beginnings and never breathe a word about your loss, if you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they are gone, and so hold on when there is nothing in you except the will which says to them, hold on. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings nor lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you, but none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it, and, which is more, you'll be a man, my son. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Invictus by William Ernest Henley. Read for LibriVox.org by MichaelMaggs. Invictus. Out of the night that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeonings of chance my head is bloody, but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the horror of the shade, and yet the menace of the years finds and shall find me unafraid. It matters not how strait the gate, how charged with punishments the scroll, I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
It's a long way by William Stanley Braithwaite. Read for LibriVox.org by Winston Tharp. It's a long way the sea winds blow over the sea plains blue, but longer far has my heart to go before its dreams come true. It's work we must, and love we must, and do the best we may, and take the hope of dreams in trust to keep us day by day. It's a long way the sea winds blow, but somewhere lies a shore. Thus down the tide of time shall flow my dreams forevermore. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Jenny Kissed Me by James Lee Hunt. Read for LibriVox.org by Ron Altman. Jenny kissed me when we met, jumping from the chair she sat in. Time, you thief who love to get sweets into your list, put that in. Say I'm weary, say I'm sad, say that health and wealth have missed me. Say I'm growing old, but add, Jenny kissed me. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Leisure by W. H. Davis. Read for LibriVox.org by MichaelMaggs. Leisure. What is this life, if, full of care, we have no time to stand and stare? No time to stand beneath the boughs and stare as long as sheep or cows? No time to see, when woods we pass, where squirrels hide their nuts in grass? No time to see, in broad daylight, streams full of stars, like stars at night? No time to turn at beauty's glance and watch her feet, how they can dance? No time to wait till her mouth can enrich that smile her eyes began? A poor life this, if, full of care, we have no time to stand and stare. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A Little Grey Curl by Louisa May Alcott. Read for LibriVox.org by Krista Zaleski. A little grey curl from my father's head I find unburned on the hearth, and give it a place in my diary here, with a feeling half sadness, half mirth. For the long white locks are our special pride, though he smiles at his daughter's praise. But oh, they have grown each year more thin, till they are now but a silvery haze. That wise old head, though it does grow bald, with the knocks hard fortune may give, has a store of faith and hope and trust, which have taught him how to live. Though the hat be old, there's a face below which telleth to those who look the history of a good man's life, and it cheers like a blessed book. A peddler of jewels, of clocks, and of books, many a year of his wandering youth, a peddler still with a far richer pack, his wares are wisdom and love and truth. But now as then few purchase or pause, for he cannot learn the tricks of the trade. Little silver he wins, but that which time is sprinkling thick on his meek old head. But there'll come a day when the busy world, grown sick with its folly and pride, will remember the mild-faced peddler then, whom it rudely had set aside, will remember the wares he offered it once, and will seek to find him again, eager to purchase truth, wisdom, and love, but oh, it will seek him in vain. It will find but his footsteps left behind along the byways of life, where he patiently walked, striving the while to quiet its tumult and strife. But the peddling pilgrim has laid down his pack and gone with his earnings away. How small will they seem, remembering the debt which the world too late would repay? God bless the dear head, and crown it with years, untroubled and calmly serene, that the autumn of life more golden may be, for the heats and the storms that have been. My heritage none can ever dispute, my fortune will bring neither strife nor care. 'Tis an honest name, 'tis a beautiful life, and that silver lock of my father's hair. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Lost by Carl Sandburg, read for LibriVox.org by Kaydence Anderson. Desolate and lone, all night long on the lake, where fog trails and mist creeps, the whistle of a boat calls and cries unendingly like some lost child, in tears and trouble, hunting the harbor's breast and the harbor's eyes. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Lullaby of an Infant Chief by Sir Walter Scott. Read for LibriVox.org by Czandra. Oh, hush thee, my baby, thy sire was a knight, thy mother a lady, both lovely and bright. The woods and the glens from the towers which we see, they all are belonging, dear baby, to thee. Oh, fear not the bugle, though loudly it blows. It calls but the warders that guard thy repose. Their bows would be bended, their blades would be red, ere the step of a foeman draws near to thy bed. Oh, hush thee, my baby, the time soon will come, when thy sleep shall be broken by trumpet and drum. Then hush thee, my darling, take rest while you may, for strife comes with manhood and waking with day. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Maniac's Reverie by Florence Carpenter DU Dunn. Read for LibriVox.org by Chuck Williamson. Didst thou meet in this darkness dread that gaunt black shadow of noiseless tread? A shade, a ghost of the silence drear, I feel a more than human fear. Alas, my shuddering soul so dear, is God forgotten, wandering? I touched the shreds of its dank black hair, I saw its eyes' uncanny glare. I felt the chill of its cool, swift breath, it stunned me like the kiss of death. I cannot find it, and I must, this thing will change me into dust. Wandering soul, return, return. Those whirling faces, those are they whose smiles I cared to see. Why do they move, bewildering growl? They chatter now at me. Why, those are leaves, they do not laugh. That was a fearful groan. The monster speaks who moves the trees and makes their branches moan. What simple leaves! I see them now say whispers in his ear, dangerous secrets, leaves beware, those words he must not hear. How shall I make them moveless stay? My treacherous lips, they speak and say words which must not be spoken. Is this the shade? No, this is white. If I could think, all would be right. O God-forsaken soul tonight, return, my heart is broken. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Michaelmas Moon by William Ogilvy. Read for LibriVox.org by Newgatenovelist. O'er the withered autumn grass, o'er the trodden stubble gold, rides the moon of Michaelmas, mailed in memories of old. Moon that bade the reavers ride, touched the helms and tipped the spears, paved a pathway white and wide for the hoofs of English steers. Moon that called our chiefs across to the vengeance of the sword, held them straight on Carter Moss, lit them through the Teviot ford. Moon that fostered fierce desire, moon that wove success a crown, when the farmyards flamed in fire and the studded doors went down. Safe the Southron stores his grain, safe in stall his steers may stand, while the martial moon in vain beckons to the borderland. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Moon by Eliza Lee Fallen. Read for LibriVox.org by Ike Sherr. Oh, look at the moon. She's shining up there. Oh, mother, she looks like a lamp in the air. Last week she was smaller and shaped like a bow, but now she's grown bigger and round as an O. Pretty moon, how you shine on the door and make it all bright on my nursery floor. You shine on my playthings and show me their place, and I love to look up at your pretty bright face. And there is a star close by you, and maybe that small twinkling star is your little baby. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Nevermore by Dante Gabriel Rossetti. Look in my face, my name is Might Have Been. I am also called, no more, too late, farewell. Unto thine ear I hold the Dead Sea shell, cast up thy life's foam-fretted feet between. Unto thine eyes the glass where that is seen, which had life's form and love's, but my spell is now a shaken shadow intolerable of ultimate things unuttered the frail screen. Mark me how still I am, but should there dart one moment through my soul the soft surprise of that winged peace which lulls the breath of sighs, then shalt thou see me smile and turn apart thy visage to mine ambush at thy heart, sleepless with cold commemorative eyes. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Next War by Robert Graves. Read for LibriVox.org by Cavaet. You young friskies who today jump and fight in father's hay, with bows and arrows and wooden spears, playing at Royal Welsh Fusiliers. Happy though these hours you spend, have they warned you how games end? Boys, from the first time you prod and thrust with spears of curtain rod, from the first time you tear and slash your longbows from the garden ash, or fit your shaft with a blue jay feather, binding the split tops together, from that same hour by fate you're bound as champions of this stony ground, loyal and true in everything to serve your army and your king, prepared to starve and sweat and die under some fierce foreign sky, if only to keep safe those joys that belong to British boys, to keep young Prussians from the soft, scented hay of father's loft, and stop young Slavs from cutting bows and bendy spears from Welsh hedgerows. Another war soon gets begun, a dirtier, a more glorious one. Then, boys, you'll have to play all in. It's the cruelest team will win. So hold your nose against the stink and never stop too long to think. Wars don't change except in name. The next one must go just the same, and new foul tricks unguessed before will win and justify this war. Kaisers and Tsars will strut the stage, once more with pomp and greed and rage. Courtly ministers will stop at home and fight to the last drop. By the million men will die in some new horrible agony, and children here will thrust and poke, shoot and die and laugh at the joke, with bows and arrows and wooden spears, playing at Royal Welsh Fusiliers. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Ode on the Spring by Thomas Gray. Read for LibriVox.org by B. Vince. Lo, where the rosy-bosomed hours fair Venus's train appear, disclose the long-expecting flowers, and wake the purple year. The Attic warbler pours her throat, responsive to the cuckoo's note, the untaught harmony of spring, while whispering pleasure as they fly. Cool zephyrs through the clear blue sky their gathered fragrance fling. Where the oak's thick branches stretch a broader, browner shade, where the rude and moss-grown beech over canopies the glade, beside some water's rushy brink, with me the muse shall sit and think, at ease reclined in rustic state. How vain the ardor of the crowd, how low, how little are the proud, how indigent the great. Still is the toiling hand of care, the panting herds repose, yet hark how through the peopled air the busy murmur glows. The insect youth are on the wing, eager to taste the honeyed spring, and float amid the liquid noon. Some lightly over the currents skim, some show their gaily gilded trim, quick glancing to the sun, to contemplation's sober eye. Such is the race of man, and they that creep and they that fly shall end where they began. Alike the busy and the gay, but flutter through life's little day, in fortune's varying colors dressed, brushed by the hand of rough mischance, or chilled by age their airy dance. They leave in dust to rest. Methinks I hear in accents low the sportive kind reply, poor moralist, and what art thou? A solitary fly. Thy joys no glittering female meets, no hive hast thou of hoarded sweets. No painted plumage to display. On hasty wings thy youth is flown. Thy sun is set, thy spring is gone. We frolic while 'tis May. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Paper Boats by Rabindranath Tagore. Read for LibriVox.org. Day by day, I float my paper boats one by one down the running stream. In big black letters, I write my name on them and the name of the village where I live. I hope that someone in some strange land will find them and know who I am. I load my little boats with surely flowers from our garden, and hope that these blooms of the dawn will be carried safely to land in the night. I launch my paper boats and look up into the sky and see the little clouds setting their white bulging sails. I know not what playmate of mine in the sky sends them down the air to race with my boats. When night comes, I bury my face in my arms and dream that my paper boats float on and on under the midnight stars. The fairies of sleep are sailing in them, and the lading is their baskets full of dreams. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Parzellia by Florence Carpenter D.U. Dunn. Read for LibriVox.org by Chuck Williamson. Older my realm than other known upon this fire-forged earth. In glacier's ice its altars with primeval man had birth. Volcano-taught man stole away the comfort-hiding glare, laid it in circling stones to burn, and lit home's hearth fire there. Boundless my kingdom, seas nor land, cold death, nor stars above, may set a limit to my realm. Its bound is woman's love, mighty the guard which keepeth it forever. Everywhere this sacred circled fire dies not, its guard is woman's prayer. Hear ye not my kingdom's music, rousing man or throning king? That song transcendent of the hearth, that wondrous song the mothers sing. 'Tis immortal, my vast kingdom, as the stars in sky's blue dome. Deathless, shrined in holiest memories, lives Parzellia, hearth of home. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Perversity by Aline Kilmer. This reading is read for LibriVox.org by Kaydence Anderson. All my life I have loved where I was not loved, and always those whom I did not love loved me. Only the God who made my wild heart knows why this should be. Oh, I am strange, inscrutable, and proud. You cannot prove me though you try and try. I'll keep your love alive and wondering until you die. End of poem. This reading is in the public domain.
The Pig's Tale by Lewis Carroll. Read for LibriVox.org by Lee Vogler. Little birds are dining, warily and well, hid in mossy cell, hid I say by waiters, gorgeous in their gaiters. I've got a tale to tell. Little birds are feeding, justices with jam, rich in frizzled ham, rich I say in oysters, haunting shady cloisters. That is what I am. Little birds are teaching tigresses to smile, innocent of guile, Smile, I say, not smirkle, mouth a semicircle, that's the proper style. Little birds are sleeping all among the pens, where the loser wins, where I say he sneezes, when and how he pleases. So the tale begins. There was a pig that sat alone beside a ruined pump. By day and night he made his moan. It would have stirred a heart of stone to see him wring his hoofs and groan, because he could not jump. A certain camel heard him shout, a camel with a hump. Oh, is it grief or is it gout? What is this bellowing about? That pig replied with quivering snout, because I cannot jump. That camel scanned him dreamy-eyed, methinks you are too plump. I never knew a pig so wide, that wobbled so from side to side, who could, however much he tried, do such a thing as jump. Yet mark those trees 2 miles away, all clustered in a clump. If you could trot there twice a day, nor ever pause for rest or play, in far future who can say? You may be fit to jump. That camel passed and left him there beside the ruined pump. Oh, horrid was that pig's despair, his shrieks of anguish filled the air. He wrung his hoofs, he rent his hair, because he could not jump. There was a frog that wandered by, a sleek and shining lump, inspected him with fishy eye, and said, "O pig, what makes you cry?" And bitter was that pig's reply, "Because I cannot jump." That frog he grinned a grin of glee, and hit his chest a thump. "O pig," he said, "be ruled by me, and you shall see what you shall see. This minute, for a trifling fee, I'll teach you how to jump. You may be faint from many a fall and bruised by many a bump, but if you persevere through all and practice first on something small, concluding with a 10-foot wall, you'll find that you can jump." That pig looked up with joyful start. "O frog, you are a trump. Your words have healed my inward smart. Come, name your fee and do your part. Bring comfort to a broken heart by teaching me to jump. My fee shall be a mutton chopped, my gold a swined pig. Observe with what an airy flop I plant myself upon the top. Now bend your knees and take a hop, for that's the way to jump." Up rose that pig and rushed full whack against the ruined pump, rolled over like an empty sack, and settled down upon his back, while all his bones at once went crack. It was a fatal jump. Little birds are writing interesting books to be read by cooks. Read, I say, not roasted. Letterpress, when toasted, loses its good looks. Little birds are playing bagpipes on the shore, where the tourists snore. "Thanks," they cry, "'tis thrilling. Take, take this shilling. Let us have no more." Little birds are bathing, crocodiles in cream, like a happy dream. Like, but not so lasting. Crocodiles, when fasting, are not all that they seem. That camel passed as day grew dim around the ruined pump. "O broken heart, O broken limb, it needs," that camel said to him, "something more fairy-like and slim to execute a jump." That pig lay still as any stone, and could not stir a stump. Nor ever, if the truth were known, was he again observed to moan, nor ever wring his hooves and groan, because he could not jump. The frog made no remark, for he was dismal as a dump. He knew the consequence must be that he would never get his fee, and still he sits in misery upon that ruined pump. Little birds are choking, baronets with bun, taught to fire a gun, taught, I say, to splinter salmon in the winter, merely for the fun. Little birds are hiding crimes in carpet bags, blessed by happy stags, blessed, I say, though beaten, since our friends are eaten when the memory flags. Little birds are tasting gratitude and gold, pale with sudden cold, pale, I say, and wrinkled, when the bells have tinkled, and the tale is told. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Quia Nominor Leo by Algernon Charles Swinburne. Read for LibriVox by Czandra. 1. What part is left thee, lion, ravenous beast, which hadst the world for pasture, and for scope, in compass of thine homicidal hope, the kingdom of the spirit of man, the feast of souls subdued from west to sunless east, from blackening north to blood-red south aslope, all servile, earth for footcloth of the Pope, and heaven for chancel ceiling of the priest. Thou that hadst earth by right of rack and rod, thou that hadst Rome because thy name was God, and by thy creed's gift heaven wherein to dwell, heaven laughs with all his light and might above that earth has cast thee out of faith and love. Thy part is but the hollow dream of hell. 2. The light of life has faded from thy cause, high priest of heaven and hell and purgatory. Thy lips are loud with strains of old world story, but the red prey was rent out of thy paws long since, and they that dying break down thy laws have with the fires of death enkindled glory put out the flame that faltered on thy hoary high altars, waning with the world's applause. This Italy was Dante's, Bruno died here, Campanella, too sublime for pride, endured thy God's worst here, and hence went home. And what art thou, that time's full tide should shrink for thy sake downward? What art thou, to think thy God shall give thee back for birthright Rome? End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Rainy Day by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. Read for LibriVox.org by Ron Altman. The day is cold and dark and dreary. It rains, and the wind is never weary. The vine still clings to the mouldering wall, but at every gust the dead leaves fall, and the day is dark and dreary. My life is cold and dark and dreary. It rains, and the wind is never weary. My thoughts still cling to the mouldering past, but the hopes of youth fall thick in the blast, and the days are dark and dreary. Be still, sad heart, and cease repining. Behind the clouds is the sun still shining. Thy fate is the common fate of all. Into each life some rain must fall. Some days must be dark and dreary. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Sailor's Wife Speaks by Don Marquis. Read for LibriVox.org by Lee Vogler. You're dead, they say, but you swore you would come to me back from the sea. From out of the sea in the night he cried, and with a crawling weed and with a dragging tide could hold ye fast from me. Oh come to me. 3 spells I've laid on the rising sun, and 3 on the waning moon. Are you held in the bonds of the night or the day? You must loosen your bonds, and away, you must come where I wait ye soon. Ah, soon. 3 times I've cast my words to the wind, and thrice to the climbing sea. If you drift or dream with the clouds of foam, you must drift again home, you must drift again home. Wrath, you're free. Ghost, you're free. Are the coasts of death so fair, but I wait for you here on the shore. It is I that you hear in the calling wind. I've stared through the dark till my soul is blind. Oh, lover of mine, you swore. Lover of mine, you swore. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Say not the struggle naught availeth by Arthur Hugh Clough. Read for LibriVox.org by MichaelMaggs. Say not the struggle naught availeth, the labour and the wounds are vain. The enemy faints not nor faileth, and as things have been, they remain. If hopes were dupes, fears may be liars. It may be, in yon smoke concealed, your comrades chase e'en now the flyers, and, but for you, possess the field. For while the tired waves, vainly breaking, seem here no painful inch to gain, far back through creeks and inlets making, comes silent, flooding in the main. And not by eastern windows only, when daylight comes in the light. In front the sun climbs slow, how slowly, but westward, look, the land is bright. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Says He by James Whitcomb Riley. Read for LibriVox.org by M. Lee. Whatever the weather may be, says he, whatever the weather may be, its place if ye will, and I'll say me say, supposin' today was the winterest day, would the weather be changin' because ye cried, or the snow be grass were ye crucified? The best is to make your own summer, says he. Whatever the weather may be, says he, whatever the weather may be. Whatever the weather may be, says he, whatever the weather may be, it's the songs ye sing and the smiles ye wear that's a-making the sunshine everywhere, and the world of gloom is a world of glee, with the bird in the bush and the bud in the tree. Whatever the weather may be, says he, whatever the weather may be. Whatever the weather may be, says he, whatever the weather may be, ye can bring the spring with its green and gold, and the grass in the grove where the snow lies cold, and ye warm your back with a smiling face, as ye sit at your heart like an old fireplace. Whatever the weather may be, says he, whatever the weather may be. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Seashore by Ralph Waldo Emerson. Read for LibriVox.org by Casey Garreau. I heard or seemed to hear the chiding sea say, "Pilgrim, why so late and slow to come? Am I not always here, thy summer home? Is not my voice thy music, morn and eve? My breath thy healthful climate in the heats, my touch thy antidote, my bay thy bath? Was ever building like my terraces? Was ever couch magnificent as mine? Lie on the warm rock ledges, and there learn a little hut suffices like a town. I make your sculptured architecture vain, vain beside mine. I drive my wedges home, and carve the coastwise mountain into caves. Lo, here is Rome, and Nineveh and Thebes, Karnak and pyramid and giant stairs, half piled or prostrate, and my newest slab older than all thy race. Behold the sea, the opaline, the plentiful and strong, yet beautiful as is the rose in June, fresh as the trickling rainbow of July. Sea full of food, the nourisher of kinds, purger of earth, and medicine of men. Creating a sweet climate by my breath, washing out harms and griefs from memory, and, in my mathematic ebb and flow, giving a hint of that which changes not. Rich are the sea gods. Who gives gifts but they? They grope the sea for pearls, but more than pearls, they pluck force thence, and give it to the wise. For every wave is wealth to Daedalus, wealth to the cunning artist who can work this matchless strength. Where shall he find, O waves, a load your Atlas shoulders cannot lift? I, with my hammer pounding evermore the rocky coast, smite Andes into dust, strewing my bed, and, in another age, rebuild a continent of better men. Then I unbar the doors, my paths lead out the exodus of nations. I dispersed men to all shores that front the hoary main. I too have arts and sorceries. Illusion dwells forever with the wave. I know what spells are laid. Leave me to deal with credulous and imaginative man. For, though he scoop my water in his palm, a few rods off he deems it gems and clouds. Planting strange fruits and sunshine on the shore, I make some coast alluring, some lone isle, to distant men who must go there or die. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
In the Shadow of the Cross by John McCrae. Read for LibriVox.org by Larry Wilson. At the drowsy dusk, when the shadows creep from the golden west, where the sunbeams sleep, an angel mused. Is there good or ill in the mad world's heart, since on Calvary's hill round the cross a midday twilight fell, that darkened earth and o'ershadowed hell? Through the streets of a city the angel sped, like an open scroll men's hearts he read. In a monarch's ear his courtiers lied, and humble faces hid hearts of pride. Men's hate waxed hot, and their hearts grew cold, as they haggled and fought for the lust of gold. Despairing he cried, "After all these years, is there naught but hatred and strife and tears?" He found two waifs in an attic bare, a single crust was their meagre fare. One strove to quiet the other's cries, and the love light dawned in their famished eyes. As she kissed the child with a motherly air, "I don't need mine, you can have my share." Then the angel knew that the earthly cross and the sorrow and shame were not wholly loss. At dawn, when hushed was earth's busy hum, and men looked not for their Christ to come, from the attic poor to the palace grand, the king and the beggar went hand in hand. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Shooting of Dan McGrew by Robert Service, read for LibriVox.org by Lee Vogler. Bunch boys were whooping it up in the Malamute saloon. The kid that handles the music box was hitting a jag-time tune. Back at the bar in a solo game sat dangerous Dan McGrew, and watching his luck was the light of his love, the lady that's known as Lou. When out of the night, which was 50 below, and into the din and glare, there stumbled a miner fresh from the creeks, dog dirty and loaded for bear. He looked like a man with a foot in the grave and scarcely the strength of a louse. Yet he tilted a poke of dust on the bar, and he called for drinks on the house. There was none could place the stranger's face, though we searched ourselves for a clue. But we drank his health, and the last to drink was dangerous Dan McGrew. There's men that somehow just grip your eyes and hold them hard like a spell, and such was he, and he looked to me like a man who'd lived in hell, with a face most hair and dreary stare of a dog whose day is done, as he watered the green stuff in his glass and the drops fell one by one. Then I got to figuring who he was and wondering what he'd do, and I turned my head, and there watching him was the lady that's known as Lou. His eyes went rubbering round the room, and he seemed in kind of a daze, till at last that old piano fell in the way of his wandering gaze. The ragtime kid was having a drink, there was no one else on the stool, so the stranger stumbles across the room and flops down there like a fool. In a buckskin shirt that was glazed with dirt, he sat and I saw him sway. Then he clutched the keys with his talon hands. My God, but that man could play. Were you ever out there in the great alone when the moon was awful clear, and the icy mountains hemmed you in with the silence you could most hear, with only the howl of a timber wolf, and you camped there in the cold, a half-dead thing in a stark dead world, clean mad for the muck called gold, while high overhead, green, yellow, and red, the northern lights swept in bars. Then you've a hunch what the music meant, hunger and night and the stars. And hunger not of the belly kind that's banished with bacon and beans, but the gnawing hunger of lonely men for home and all that it means. For a fireside far from the cares that are, four walls and a roof above, but oh so crammed full of cozy joy and crowned with a woman's love. A woman dearer than all the world, and true as heaven is true. God, how ghastly she looks through her rouge, that lady that's known as Lou. Then on a sudden the music changed so soft that you scarce could hear, but you felt your life had been looted clean of all that it once held dear. That someone had stolen the woman you loved, that her love was a devil's lie, and your guts were gone, and the best for you was to crawl away and die. 'Twas the crown and glory of a heart's despair, and it thrilled you through and through. I guess I'll make it a spread, misery, said the dangerous Dan McGrew. The music almost died away, then it burst like a pent-up flood, and it seemed to say, repay, repay, and my eyes were blind with blood. The thought came back of an ancient wrong, and it stung like a frozen lash. And the lust awoke to kill, then the music stopped with a crash. And the stranger turned, and his eyes they burned in a most peculiar way. In a buckskin shirt that was glazed with dirt, he sat, and I saw him sway. Then his lips went in and kind of a grin, and he spoke, and his voice was calm. And boys, he said, you don't know me, and none of you care a damn. But I want to state, and my words are straight, and I'll bet my poke they're true, that one of you is a hound of hell, and that one is Dan McGrew. Then I ducked my head, and the lights went out, and two guns blazed in the dark, and a woman screamed, and the lights went up, and two men lay stiff and stark. Pitched on his head and pumped full of lead was dangerous Dan McGrew, while the man from the creeks lay clutched to the breast of the lady that's known as Lou. These are simply the facts of the case, and I guess I ought to know. They say the stranger was crazed with hooch, and I'm not denying it's so. I'm not so wise as the lawyer guys, but strictly between us two. The woman that kissed him and pinched his poke is the lady that's known as Lou. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Spirit Whose Work is Done by Walt Whitman. Read for LibriVox.org by Bruce Kachuk. Washington City, 1865. Spirit whose work is done, spirit of dreadful hours, ere departing fade from my eyes your forests of bayonets. Spirit of gloomiest fears and doubts, yet onward ever unfaltering pressing, spirit of many a solemn day and many a savage scene, electric spirit, that with muttering voice through the war now closed, like a tireless phantom flitted, rousing the land with breath of flame, while you beat and beat the drum. Now as the sound of the drum, hollow and harsh to the last, reverberates round me, as your ranks, your immortal ranks, return from the battles, as the muskets of the young men yet lean over their shoulders, as I look on the bayonets bristling over their shoulders, as those slanted bayonets, whole forests of them appearing in the distance, approach and pass on, returning homeward, moving with steady motion, swaying to and fro to the right and left, evenly, lightly rising and falling while the steps keep time. Spirit of hours I knew, all hectic red one day, but pale as death next day. Touch my mouth ere you depart, press my lips close. Leave me your pulses of rage, bequeath them to me, fill me with currents convulsive. Let them scorch and blister out of my chants when you are gone. Let them identify you to the future in these songs.
End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Stupidity by Amy Lowell. Read for LibriVox.org by M. Lee. Dearest, forgive that with my clumsy touch I broke and bruised your rose. I hardly could suppose it were a thing so fragile that my clutch could kill it thus. It stood so proudly up upon its stem, I knew no thought of fear, and coming very near, fell overbalanced to your garment's hem, tearing it down. Now, stooping, I upgather, one by one, the crimson petals all outspread about my fall. They hold their fragrance still, a blood-red cone of memory. And with my words I carve a little jar to keep their scented dust, which opening you must breathe to your soul, and breathing know me far more grieved than you. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A Tale of Hard Times, author unknown, read for LibriVox.org by Carol Sutton, March 24th, 2022, Knox, PA. 2 gay young frogs from inland bogs had spent the night in drinking. As morning broke and they awoke, while yet their eyes were blinking, a farmer's pail came to the swale and caught them quick as winking. Ere they could gather scattered senses or breathe a prayer for past offenses, the granger grazed that guileless man. He dumped them in the milkman's can. The can filled up, the cover down. They soon are started off to town. The luckless frogs began to quake and sober up on cold milkshake. They quickly find their breath will stop unless they swim upon the top. They swim for life and kick and swim until their weary eyes grow dim. Their muscles ache, their breath grows short, and gasping speaks one weary sport. Say, dear old boy, it's pretty tough to die so young, but I've enough of kicks for life, no more I'll try it. I was not raised on a milk diet. Tut, tut, my lad, the other cries, a frog's not dead until he dies. Let's keep on kicking, that's my plan. We yet may see outside this can. No use, Faintheart replied, turned up his toes and gently died. The braver frog, undaunted still, kept kicking with a right good will, until with joy too great to utter, he found he'd turned a lump of butter, and climbing on that chunk of grease, he floated round with greatest ease. Moral: when times are hard, no trade in town, don't get discouraged and go down, but struggle still, no murmur utter. A few more kicks may bring the butter. The end. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain.
Vita Brevis by William Ogilvy, read for LibriVox.org by Newgatenovelist. Our life is but a moment, one sheen of silken pearls, one dance between the daylights with a certain girl of girls, one feast of burning kisses, one blast of passion's breath, and life is but a moment that cheats the hand of death. Our life is but a moment, one sweep of silken wings, one thunder on the greensward, one snatch of bridal rings, one struggle for the pride of place, one crash of splintered rails, and life is but a moment before the sunlight fails. Oh, life is but a moment for holding soft white hands, or flying 4-foot fences, while the cheering rocks the stands. So take love's gift of kisses, or sports in love's despite, for life is but a moment, and after it the night. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Voice of the Eagle by Hannah Flagg Gold. Read for LibriVox.org by B. Vince. Lady, the fairest flowers the morn disclosed are glowing on thy bosom, while within thousands of clustering joys are still in bud, and thy fond heart has sweetly promised thee, ere the bland violet shall hang its head, that they shall be full blown. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Why I Love Her by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Read for LibriVox.org by Cavaet. Why do I love my sweetheart? Well, I never really tried to tell. I love her mayhap for her smile, so innocent and free from guile. Perhaps I love her for her mien, so calmly cheerful and serene. Or it may be her silken hair, first caught entangled Cupid there. And since I come to analyze, her chiefest beauty is her eyes. Her mouth, too, that is Cupid's bow. Perhaps that's why I love her so. And now I think of it, her voice first made my rusty heart rejoice, and then her hand, 'tis my belief, it quite outvies the lily leaf. Perhaps I love her for her ways that blend in with the sunny days. Tush, to be brief and plain with you, I love her just because I do. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Wind by Christina Rossetti. Read for LibriVox.org by B. Vince. Who has seen the wind? Neither I nor you. But when the leaves hang trembling, the wind is passing through. Who has seen the wind? Neither you nor I. But when the trees bow down their heads, the wind is passing by. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Yesterday and Today by Narciso Tondreau. Translated by Agnes Blake Poor. Read for LibriVox.org by Winston Tharp. Prone lies at length the statue once so fair, headless and armless on the weedy lawn. Yet still some lovely curve shows here and there, through clustering ivy like a mantle drawn. The cracked stained pedestal of ages tells. From every cranny lined with velvet moss, the hum of bee, the chirp of cricket swells, and silently the lizard darts across. How long ago, by summer breezes fanned, here stood the newborn Venus, fresh and fair, all palpitating from the master's hand, the last touch of his chisel lingering there. And surely this shall last, he proudly thought. Fixed in immortal marble is my fame. Just here, where human hand has surely wrought, some crumbling letters may have spelled his name. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.